Good evening and welcome. It's September 17th. It's Tuesday night, and I want to welcome you to a live podcast. And I'm here to talk about fighting CPS. Stop taking our children. My name is Bob Pace, and I want to welcome you. And I know a lot of you are somewhere at your stages of the CPS nightmare that you got yourself with your family. And you came to the right place. This may be very hard for you to do, but I'm glad that you made it here. Now, I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. And I come on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, and again at 7 o'clock at night, Pacific Standard Time. Now, there's one day, Sunday, that I come on 2 hours early to go to church. And that is Sunday. I come on at 8 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time in the morning. Now, there's another day that we come on early instead of the evening. That's on Friday. Friday Night Lights is high school football, and I have a team that I go support and cheer on. And that game is at 7 o'clock. So I'll be starting my podcast at 3 so I can make my way to the football game. So I'll be on at 3 o'clock on Friday. So mark your calendars. Now, I'm broadcasting on YouTube. You found me on Facebook, and I'm glad you did. Now, we have a couple problems with Facebook right now. It seems like it's not connecting very well. I have two of the Facebook pages that aren't working very well. I'm letting my show producer know what the problem is so that she can fix it. Now, I use StreamYard as my application. What that means is that you can make emojis like smiley faces, thumbs up, um, and hearts. Also, you can send me stars to help support the program. I love to have lots of stars. Also, if you want to subscribe to my podcast, please hit the subscribe button down below. And lastly, if you want to be notified when I'm on, please hit the notification button. So I'm glad that you joined us. I'm not an attorney. I'm a family man, 6 children, and been married 31 years. Unfortunately, in the year 2010, I lost my job through no fault of my own. And soon after that, I started receiving, excuse me, Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. I do this from home and I don't have the privacy I should have. And I apologize for some people that are not very mature in the background. Okay, I was just telling you that I know what you're going through because I too had a case where CPS was investigating, and it was largely due to the layperson, actually persons, who were my wife's father, mother, three sisters, and her brother, calling in every week for 5 years that we weren't feeding the children, we weren't clothing the children, we weren't taking the children to school, we weren't giving them baths, the rooms were dirty. They were doing that every week, taking turns calling in. And CPS has to investigate anybody that calls in, whether it's a crank call or not. You're guilty until you're proven innocent in CPS's mind. It's the only court of law where you're not guilty and then proven innocent. Here in CPS, you're guilty. Now, when I describe CPS, I'm talking about the child protection system. It's a branch of social services that has been empowered by Congress to protect our children from neglect and abuse. Also, they've been mandated to help out families in need in the areas of food, housing, clothing, education, medical, and work. Furthermore, if they have to break the family apart, then they're responsible to bring that family together. They're responsible to bring that family together. So when I say CPS, that's what I'm talking about. Um, so what I am hopefully instill upon you is the importance of taking care of your case right away. The CPS is an awful entity. They are corrupt. They're not transparent. They don't consider you your friend. They're in there to make money off you. It's $1 trillion business. It's $1 trillion business. And so, what I like to do is to help you all be careful and hopefully learn from me the things that did wrong. My allegations that started when I lost my job through no fault of my own in 2010 were horrible. They were horrible, to deal with the people every week. Why aren't you feeding your kids? Why aren't they in school? Why aren't you not paying your utility bills? Etc., etc., etc. And it was really, really hard. It was really, really hard because those are the kinds of individuals you're up against. Now, there's 4 ways you can interact with this podcast. And you've heard this from me before if you watch my show. The first way is just be in this room listening. All you have to do is listen and take notes. That's one way. Make sure to express emojis and stars like thumbs up and hearts and faces, smiley faces. Also, make sure you subscribe down below and do notifications. Now, the second way, and this is if you want to maybe say something, you can text a message to me, but it's important that when you text in the message or a question, Please show me your name. Now, some of you may think the name you have given yourself on Facebook or YouTube is okay. Yeah, it's okay, but it's hard to dress people that say psychedelic elephants or dancing butterflies or gone with the wind, some other weird, and I'm saying the weird, I apologize, but some other saying. I like to see your first name: Betty, Mark, Susan, Paul, whatever, your first name. And then you list your city or county. Your city or county. That way, get a general idea where you're at. Also, you want to list the state you're in, the state you're in. This way, when I look at the United States, and I've talked to all 50 states, I get an idea of what's going on. I've talked from Alaska down to Florida to Maine to Texas, all around the country, all 50 states. Now, since this is a live podcast broadcast around the world, I have people from other countries that are interested in CPS. They too have a problem with CPS. So my podcast is open to anybody in the world. And so far, I've heard comments from Bangladesh, from New Delhi, India, from a Middle Eastern country that was in Arabic that I don't know what the country was. So hopefully they'll contact me again. From Africa, and I've had several of the countries in the continent of Africa. I've had Liberia in the west, northwest of the country. Down to south in South Africa, I've had the Western Province, Texan. Then I've had Rwanda, a small country next to Lake Victoria. And then I have Mozambique, which is above South Africa on the east coast, below Somalia, near Madagascar, the island of Madagascar. And then I go further north to Europe, and I've had England, Scotland, Wales, a part of the United Kingdom, and then Denmark and Sweden. Across the pond, I've had North America. I've had several Canadian countries, British Columbia and Alberta and Vancouver and so forth from over there. I also heard from the Indian nation in Canada. They're called the First Nation. They call themselves the First Nation people. Our Indians are called the Native American Indians. And I've also heard from them in the United States. I've heard from all 50 states, including the tribes from the Lakota Sioux at the Pinewood Reservation, or the Cherokee at Oklahoma, or the Osage at Oklahoma. Oops, maybe I had a phone call already. I haven't got the phone number up. Disappeared. I don't know if someone called and then changed their mind. Let me see if someone called. I can call them back. No, I have not missed any calls. That's strange. Nope. I guess it may have been a wrong number. Anyway, I've had all the 50 states, including Washington, D.C. I've also down in Mexico, and I had a father call in about his two daughters in Louisiana. Then in South America, I've had a country called Guyana that is east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, and South America on the east coast. Then across the Pacific, the land down under, I've had Australia from the Gold Coast and from the Melbourne area of the state of Victoria. And so we have people from around the world that have expressed interest. And I think it's important that everybody have a chance to talk. And if I can help them, I really would love to. Now, it's important when you first text in or call in that you're complete with your case. Try to tell me what your family makeup is. Are you a married couple? Are you boyfriend, girlfriend? Are you lovers? Are you a partnership? Good evening. This is Bob Pace. Yeah, hi, KK. Can you hold on a second? I will be right with you. I want to finish what I'm telling people how they interact. Hold on. Hold on,
Okay.
KK. Okay, so be complete with your case. Tell your ages of your children and whether they're girls or boys, and then what were the allegations? Were they neglect or abuse? The details of the allegations. Also, how were the children taken? And lastly, where are you at on your case right now? So that's the third way of interacting with this podcast. The fourth way is that, excuse me, the third way is that you can be a guest on the podcast. Now, I just put that up there. I have a host, a show producer, not a host, but a show producer named Grace. And she will help you get on the podcast as a guest. I had a guest yesterday named Elizabeth that was hired Mr. Davis. And today she was in Orange County doing her case. And so guests are important. I love to have them. And so you write her and you let them know what show time. I'm on 14 shows. You heard me at the beginning tell you the show times. So tell her I want to be on Bob Pace Sunday morning show or Bob Pace Wednesday evening show. Let her know, and then she'll send you back a link. Don't lose that link in case you get knocked off because that link is good later on. And so that link is a link for you to get on the SteamYard so you be with me. I can take up to 9 guests. I have room for 10 squares. And so I've had most as 4. So I want you to email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace at vincentwdavis.com, and she will gladly help you on. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Grace for all your help in trying to make this show a good show. Thank you, Grace. Now, that is the third way. I'll be right with you, KK. Be right with you. Be right with you. Um, just a second. Um, okay. I'm being distracted. First, it was outside interference in my home, and I'm sorry if I'm delaying what I'm trying to finish here.
I'm not rushing you, Bob, but I'm not going to be able to stay long.
Okay. All right. Let me switch over. I won't give the phone number since you're on the phone. Go ahead, KK, and go ahead and take it. I'm sorry that I tell people how they interact with my podcast. Go ahead, KK.
I just wanted to update you because I remember telling you I had court today.
Yeah.
So it was to continue the fact finding, and it worked out pretty good because CPS was the CPS worker was testifying, and it really was kind of going in my favor based on him not being able to confirm the note from I guess the social workers service logs. So the fact that he cannot recall or remember, the judge gave him some time, so we come back and reconvene on the 23rd. But as of right now, based on my ex-husband finally was apprehended, so now he's in Pennsylvania. They allowed him to be present at the trial via Zoom. And once the court proceeding was over, did not. I'm just like in total shock still. Basically gave him visits again. Even though he's incarcerated, he's allowed to have FaceTime and phone calls. But I was illustrated in the court proceeding as the trying to be the class parent and violating the court order by being at my children's school, which I only visited one child's school when I was invited by the principal and the parent coordinator. And they basically said I violated the order by communicating with my child or being in her presence. One, there is no school bylaws or no procedural manual that states I cannot be in the school. Two, it's not outlined on the court order. And three, I was invited by the school when I received an email about orientation for the new sixth graders. So the fact that all of these things are working in my favor, every agency that is affiliated in this case, such as the ACS Commissioner's Office, the Foster Care Agency, the Office of Family and Children Services, and the foster parent, are now not allowed to speak to me without my attorney present, which is great, but it was something I was requesting from the beginning. And now, because like you said, Mr. Bob, I have him on the rope. Now everybody is being, resistant or very careful in the way they step. So
now, I did not know that your son. I did not know your son was incarcerated. How old is your son?
No, not my son. My ex-husband. But what I'm saying is, he was evading the law from the very beginning when CPS gave him visitation with my children, and my 11-year-old is not his biological child.
Okay, so why was he invited? Why was he invited on FaceTime to talk to the court?
That's what I wanted to know as well. When he was the one that basically violated the order of protection by, getting access through the foster parent. So I was told by a New York City detective as well as an ADA that because he is not the biological father of the 11-year-old, that criminal order of protection trumps that family court order. And now all parties that were involved, such as the CPS worker, the foster care agency, and foster parent, are now accessories to aiding and abetting and fugitive. But now, again, they've given him visitation via Zoom or FaceTime, supervised, from the judge, but yet there's still an order of protection because he's.
Well, wait a minute. For your 11-year-old that's not his biological father, why are they giving visitation to a child that's not biological?
Thank you. But it was saying it, and then it said, a little down, underneath the court order, it said, if my child wants to have visits, she's allowed. But what I don't understand is, my ex-husband is currently incarcerated in Pennsylvania. He still has to be transferred to New York to be arraigned for the crimes he committed here, which opened this case. Now,
my question is then, your daughter's 11. How many of those 11 years was your ex-husband involved with your 11-year-old daughter?
Not even one. Because he got incarcerated when she just turned maybe a little over a year, but we got involved when she was approximately 6 or 7 months old. He went on the run while we were in a family shelter and got us put out where we had to go to a mother and child shelter.
Wait, so stop there. You're going a little faster, KK. So you and your 6-month child are on the run?
No, Mr. Rob.
Okay.
My ex-husband was on the run at the time when my child was 6 months. So, we got. So
what involvement would he have with a 6-month-old child? What kind of a?
And that's the point. He does not. So again, there is no relationship. And as far as his biological child, because I was pregnant, before he was on, before he went evading the law, he got arrested 10 days before his biological child was born, and recently was paroled August 13th of 2022. But that was the first time he's ever met her in person. There is no relationship.
Okay. What is your attorney? What does your attorney say?
Oh, she's furious, but if they're saying that there is no order in effect, there's no order of protection in effect in this.
Why don't they get an order, a restraining order? Why don't they get? want to get a restraining order?
No, there's an order of protection. So they're saying the order of protection is not valid now that he's incarcerated. But what they fail to realize is it is still valid. After I spoke to the ADA and the detective today, they confirmed exactly what I knew, that the order is still in effect until he is apprehended in New York City. He is currently in Pennsylvania. So because the foster care agency, the CPS worker, and the foster parents all know that this order has been in effect since October of 2022. And on the notes, on the social worker service log, it says that, my ex-husband had no contact since December of 2022, which means y'all violated the order for 2 months and still were violating it with the foster parent and the statement she made that I recorded about having access with this person.
Uh-huh.
So, again, the fact that the order is still in effect until he is apprehended and arraigned in New York City, and they're telling me that they gave him visitation, they are still violating that order, and they have violated criminal law and family law.
Okay. Now, you have 2 other children, right?
Yes.
Now, what the ages of the 2 other children again?
My 2 other children are older. These are my only 2 children, within the CPS situation. But they have nothing to do with this. I've never been involved, and for the first time, she just asked me about them, and they're technically grown.
So is it just one child that they have in?
No, as of right now, there's a 9-year-old and 11, and my 9-year-old and 11-year-old, both girls.
Okay, the 11 and 9-year-old are with foster parents?
Yes.
Okay.
I have requested an emergency ICPC, but was denied or was not even really, paid attention to, based on me saying in the beginning I did not want my family involved based on something that was misunderstood, and we finally got clarity. But I still wanted to revisit the idea of exploring them as resources. I was told no, they could not be involved because I did not want them involved, but yet involve them when it's convenient to tell the foster parent things or to get access when, my children reach out or the foster parent reaches out.
Yeah.
So, they have violated so many rights, it's ridiculous. And now that, I was forthcoming with my child's new junior high school, being that she graduated, it's a whole new district, whole new, atmosphere, and nobody knows anything. So I was being transparent as far as being proactive. And basically, on last Wednesday, when I received an email to come to orientation for new 6th graders, I reached out to the school to inform them of what the situation was as far as the children being in foster care, what my rights were. I forwarded the emails and court orders stating what I was entitled to have, and they invited me to come. I participated in that orientation and was asked if I would come and volunteer if I was not busy. I have no problem with that because I'm a PTA mom. I came in, and me and my spouse, we helped collate some welcome packets, and then we left for lunch. My child was not there. When I came back, my child was present in the auditorium, and I did not. I respected the court order. I did not make any communication. I did not make any effort to look at her or try to communicate with her or make her upset in any way. My daughter, as far as being brainwashed, so that's what I know of right now. She has to be brainwashed. She got up and she said, "My mom can't be here. She's not supposed to be here." And they didn't really know what was going on. So I just got up and left. As reaching out to school later on that evening, I was told that the foster care agency reached out to them and gave them the wrong information, as always, even with the information that I provided. But they said they were afraid to do things the wrong way and could not, basically put their careers on the line with information they really don't understand how to decipher in their, legally.
Right.
So they have to wait for their legal department.
Right.
Like I said, after court today, I was sent an email from the foster care agency, the director, and she was letting me know what the judge said. Because honestly, Mr. Bob, I got up. Once the judge gave us new dates, to continue trial, I thought everything was over, I got up and dismissed myself, unknowingly, well, not knowing that the CPS attorney and the children's lawyers had petitions they wanted to put in on the grounds of trying to get an order of protection. Because they said,
did your attorney bring you back?
I'm sorry?
Did your attorney bring you back?
No, my attorney was actually on video because she was having a personal issue, but still was present on the Zoom platform.
Okay. So you missed out the petition by the social workers' attorneys?
Yes, exactly. And the social worker could not corroborate any of the statements on those notes. It's about that. He made me look great.
Well, wait a second. There's a lot of corruption going on right now. My mind is now thinking, why are the social workers attorneys allowed to petition when you're not present?
Thank you.
Well, can your attorney file, is there something your attorney can do?
Oh, we did it already. We put in a petition on grounds for dismissal based on lack of due process and lack of corroborating evidence.
Okay.
They have notes. They have notes in this discovery and these service logs that you cannot confirm, but these are your entry notes. And the fact that you did not, make yourself well informed of what those notes consisted of based on you being a witness to testify, that was negligence and you were ill prepared. So the fact of the matter is, you don't know what you wrote because did you really write those things? And then for them to say, they made contact with me on February 1st of 2023, that's a lie. That's a lie, and I can say it now because I wanted to make sure the situation I was dealing with was safe and secure. But I was in labor on February 1st last year. I didn't have a phone. So I was making sure I was able to sign my new children over to somebody to take them out of the country. That way they wouldn't get caught in this madness. But this is how I know the facts that you are trying to find, they don't exist. Because you can't tell me you made contact with me on February 1st when I was in labor on February 1st and did not have my cell phone with me. I was in a whole other state. I didn't make contact with that worker until February 3rd. And when I made contact with that worker, I let him know that he is not allowed to speak to my children without my permission. And he kept going to their school even after this was stated, on the first initial contact. He came to my home. I took him through my door. He claimed because I did not sign a HIPAA release to let him know if I was in service or my children were in service, that I was being difficult, and that was grounds for removal with no warrant, no extringent circumstance, and no emergency situation. But yet, I verified that I was in mental health service because I've never been out of mental health service based on the prior cases. So I've always had a continuous therapeutic, outfit. And I'm always medication compliant. But because medication was at a worldwide halt based on the shortage, I was not completely medicated on my normal regimen, but I took what was available to me that was prescribed. And that's what they dismissed. So it was worldwide shortage. I had no choice. But I submitted documentation for that. And then I recently just got a new case planner based on the prior case planner failing to convey information that could have had my children brought home, since April 4th. So because of that, she no longer is employed. So now I have a new case planner who is fresh, new to the foster care system, period. She doesn't know anything, but yet she is now the patsy. Take the fall for all of this violation of rights and orders and just overall malice and corruption going on within this foster care agency alone. For the ACS Commissioner's Office to tell me, Bob, that they cannot speak to me because people are afraid that they're going to get thrown under the bus, then y'all know y'all did something wrong. Any other time I want my attorney present, they don't want, their stories are, well, none of the attorneys are here. This is just a general meeting. But everything I say, and I say is always used against me in the best interest of my reunification. It's
Yeah.
not the best interest of my children.
Yeah.
But you have me looking like an erratic, unstable mental patient. But it's okay. I got them on the roof, like you said, Mr. Bob.
Okay.
But I'm not going to take over tonight. Like I said, I'm not going to stay long. I have to actually look, hang up because I have some important stuff that I have to take care of in the morning. But I appreciate you letting me, update you guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hi, Miss, just in case you're not there.
I'm sorry. What again?
No, I was saying I wasn't going to commandeer the show. I'm going to let somebody else call in, but I just wanted to update you on, I'm looking real good right now, Mr. Bob. Like you said, I got him on the rope.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful because they're tricksters. They are tricksters.
And I want to say hi to Faye if she's there.
Well, I've been trying to get a hold of Faye, but I'm taking care of some things behind the scenes, and I haven't been able
more than you think we see you, Bob.
I'm sorry, what?
I said we can see you. You're texting somebody.
I know.
But I'm gonna let somebody call in. I just want to say thank you as usual for letting me, get my voice heard and help parents out there. We gotta help each other.
Yeah, I agree.
But I will reach out and try to sign on tomorrow in your evening show.
Okay, tomorrow, yes, tomorrow that would be good. I'm changing my Friday show to get a workable time. All of a sudden we got more hosts than I thought we had, so I'm trying to work it ahead of time. That's why I'm talking ahead of time. Anyway, I'm glad you called in. The thing that concerns you about is why your husband, who's incarcerated, has anything to do with that one child of yours that's not his biological.
Exactly. But like I said, I let them keep making the mistakes just so I can show them just where they need to be. Not working with CPS. They are just destroying families.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and thanks again, Bob, for the voice. I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling in, Kay. Kay, and my prayers go out with you. This is ridiculous what they're trying to do, but you got to keep them on the ropes and keep fighting. Don't give up, KK.
You guys give me that motivation. Thank you, guys. And parents, keep fighting. It's worth it.
Yep.
You guys have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, Bob.
All right, you take care, and God bless you, KK. Okay, that was KK who called in from Brooklyn, New York. She has a case involving her two children. Her older children are old enough they're on their own, but she had a terrible relationship with her husband who's incarcerated, and he's been blowing up smoke, plus CPS has really been taking her a hard time. It's interesting how these cases twist and turn. I'm very anxious to hear about Elizabeth and her case today in court with Vincent Davis and how that went there. So I find it interesting. Now, I forgot to mention, it was KK called in, so I didn't put my phone number up. But I want you all to know that Fourth Wave Interactive Podcast is a call me on my number. So I'm going to make my number live now. And my number is 626-698-0990. 626-698-0990. And that would work out. Right now, you can call me. If you call me before my show time or after my show time, I can't take the calls. Leave a message. I'll send you a text message of my show times and what times I can take the calls. So it's 626-698-0990. So my number is up there. We had KK from Brooklyn, New York. Now, I noticed that our Facebook connections are down. I don't know how people are getting notified. This is like the third time this has happened. I apologize, but my show producer is working on it very, very, very hard. So I noticed that we don't have much traffic, and I am trying to notify people that have called in the show before to come to the podcast. Now, someone called in and it rang really quick. Someone called in real quick there. So I'm open up. We can talk about the rules or talk about um, other things that that you're on your mind. Now, let me tell you something about CPS. They're not an agency to trust. Um, some examples. I don't know if you heard this before, but I have these 8 social workers that worked in Prescott, Arizona. They're all were white females. They had about 25 years of social experience, and they thought one day it'd be fun to buy pink T-shirts. And on the front of the T-shirts in Prescott, Arizona, in the year 2022, they stenciled they're professional child kidnappers, and on the back they prayed around with a sign that said, "Do you know where your children are at?" Now, this was very traumatizing to people that saw it. This was demonstrated at Kmart and Walmart and Target and Costco and Best Buys. They were fired, and as well as the director of that agency called the Department of Children's Services, DCS. Now, that CPM system was shut down because it left only one worker, which is sad because there are children. Don't get me wrong. We need CPS, but we need capable CPS. We do not need kidnappers. We don't need distrusted people. There's $1 million unaccounted for in Richmond, Kentucky. They've caught one individual embezzling funds for $400,000 of it, and they'll find the rest of the money too. But right now, the federal gives the state the funds, and the state gives the funds to the counties. And there's no watchdog. There's no board of governors or supervisors that oversees this. And it's sad because it does not need that kind of money. In California, in Orange County, they paid $20,000 per child from the state to the Orange County to the CPS there in Orange County. I know from firsthand experience because my 3 children were trafficking by CPS there, and they were alienated from us as parents. It was a terrible ordeal that they went through. It was a terrible ordeal that they went through. So, oh boy. I'm trying to get more people to come into the podcast because right now We seem not to have anybody there. So that was the example. These pink ladies parade around, and imagine the image on the parents. It was really sad. It was really, really, really sad in there. So it's hard enough. That's one thing you think about. I don't know how many stories I read every day of a child being hurt or even killed. And it happens all the time. We need CPS. I don't mean to abolish it. I just mean we need capable people that aren't in there just for the money or the incentives of getting money. Social workers are paid incentives. So, so that is, you got to be careful of these individuals. They are corrupt. I know firsthand from experience. My life was hell. I lost my job in 2010 through no fault of my own. And for 5 years, I was hassled by the Child Protection Services in Orange County, stating there's something wrong that we as parents were not doing right. They came to my house, inspected my house. They found out that all the lies that my in laws were giving them were all false. And it was sad. It took me a long time to find all this out. And then in 2015, after 5 years of harassing me, they had a detective follow me and demand that I come to my house so that they could bring all these people in to find out what's wrong with my house. They were added vindictive people. They knew I was lost without a job. They knew I had an expensive home and large payments, and I had no money, and I was trying to hang on to money. So that's how CPS attacks individuals. They're vindictive, and they don't like you arguing with them or telling them that they're wrong. I was fighting CPS for a long time before I got an attorney. I was texting them. I had a meeting with the director who works out of his office, looks like the Taj Mahal or the Emerald City in the Wizard of Oz. He was very lavishly dressed. He had so much gold around his neck, I wanted to give him crutches because I thought he'd fall over. And it's sad because when they came to my home, there was 5 firemen, 2 code enforcement, 2 uniformed police officer, 3 social workers, and the detective. And they insisted on my house. Now I have rules, and you don't let people in your home. You don't answer the door. You don't talk to social workers. You don't give up your children. It's your constitutional and civil rights. They have to have a warrant or permission or domestic violence going on to come into your home. So I let them come to my home this time. Unfortunately, my dad just recently died. My mom was getting there. We had sold their home and I'd taken all their belongings. And my dad asked, son, could you help me by giving the belongings to some of our loved family members? Well, they had 55 years of belongings. They had a 4,000 square foot home. And I put everything I possibly could do in the living room. It was all in the living room, stacked up on boxes and furniture. Nothing was that high. Nothing would endanger the kids. The kids are old enough. They know not to play down in the living room. They had their own bedroom. They had their yard. They had a place to eat. There was a formal dining room. There was a family room. There was a study and a library. And each of them had their own rooms. Those boxes would never attack them, but they said that's negligence. Obviously negligence. And so much danger, they took them from school. Where'd they put them? They put them in a foster care shelter, a shelter next to the juvenile prison. The juvenile prison where juveniles are serving time for acts they committed. That is where their play yard was put next to their play yard. So my children were taken from no danger to school to become danger. It was terrible sleeping arrangements. They were bunched up. It was overcrowded. It was dirty. There was cockroaches. The food was terrible. And their idea of school was reading a book. Now, my children were in STEM curriculum. That means a science and technology, engineering, and math class. They were getting A's and B's in school. They wanted to pursue professional careers. Taking them out of school of origin was wrong. And they did their best to try to take our children. From the shelter, we were able to get our children back to stay with one of my sisters and her husband took all 3 children in. Now, I have 6 children, 3 older are grown up, but I had 3 younger ones. So they watched them for the first couple of months. They thought the case be over in a month, but it wasn't. They want to drag it on. They want to drag it so long that they can get their money. They need to get that money. So the case was dragged on and on. And so the kids were taken from my wife's sister and her husband's home and put into a group home. They said, oh, we got a new organization called Boys Town. Well, Boys Town didn't have background on working with CPS cases. They only worked with kids that have no father and mother. We were a very loving father and mother. It was wrong what they did to us. It has hurt us, has upset us. So they're in a shelter and they were told not to hug your parents that come to see you. My older son couldn't study late at night. And that hurted his study. My young son liked orange juice. They said, you can't drink that much orange juice. They gave point system. It was terrible the group home does because it alienates the children from the parents. Right now, CPS does not tell you where your kids, tell you what's going with your kids, or the kids are not told what's going on with the parents. There's no communication. They don't say the parents are completing parenting classes, or they love you, or they want to be with you, and vice versa. CPS in Orange County was so bad, they alienated my children. And they were trying to do so. They trafficked my children. They went from a group home to individual foster homes. And eventually I had to get an attorney. And that's what saved my life. Without an attorney, my family would be gone. And I hired Mr. Davis. And that's my rule number 1. You definitely want to have an attorney. Why? It's like open heart surgery with CPS. It's that serious. They're so corrupt. And they do everything they can humanly possible for money. Our social worker, who wasn't trained in social work, who had no college degree, who had no license, did her utmost to ruin our family. She talked about her Gucci purse that she got every week, about her BMW car, her clothing, her accessories, her eyelashes, how rich she was with all the bonuses that she's getting. It's a money-making business. And they prey on people with low income that are struggling in life, having a hard time. I can guarantee if they got someone that has a lot of money and would hire an attorney, they wouldn't go very far. They're very corrupt. And they take those people and they ruin their lives. They adopt their children. And it's so sad that Faye has kept track in Richmond, Kentucky of the number of children that have been killed in their custody. Close to 30 people, young children, have been killed by the Richmond CPS in Kentucky. That's very sad. She's made a memorial and she has their names. She has pictures of them. And she's, dedicated her life. That's so sad. So I'm telling you right now that CPS is your worst nightmare. So you need an attorney. That's why you should think about talking to Mr. Davis. I know right now that attorneys are expensive. But right now I have agreement with Mr. Davis that for 30 minutes, you can book a Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis. as a consultation for only $60. That's 30 minutes for $60. All you have to do is go to the website https:// candidly CLENDLY.com/APPTSVWD/ Bob Pace, BOBPACE. And that he will gladly talk to you. He is a very experienced family juvenile dependency attorney. He's been fighting CPS for 35 years and has gotten the kids back. He's gotten the children back. He knows how to fight CPS. In fact, he's a trial attorney. And furthermore, he's done civil lawsuits against CPS and won millions of dollars, both in state and federal court. So he's the real deal. He'll do cases in Northern California as well as Southern California. That's where he's based, in Southern California, in the Los Angeles area in Arcadia. And he has several cases there. But he also will go out of state. He's been to Oklahoma. He has a case in Oklahoma. So he will do other states. So you can talk to him for 30 minutes and talk about his retainer. You can talk about his retainer. And you can hire him. He's worth it. He got my 2 boys back. Unfortunately, I lost my daughter. Why? Because the social worker was so corrupt, she took out retaliation. She was on the stand testifying, and my attorney, Vincent Davis, was cross-examining her because she was sitting there because my wife's sister and husband wanted to adopt her daughter. We didn't want that to take place. And so Vincent was asking the social, what kind of a mother are these parents? Have there been any domestic violence? And the social worker says, no domestic violence, or loving parents, blah, blah, blah. Then Vincent Davis took out a folder. Inside the folder was about 30 pages of police reports. He started reading the police reports of domestic violence with physical abuse, domestic violence with physical abuse. So that was taking place. That's not a setting did you want to put a child in. And so she lied. She committed perjury, and she could be sued. And I want to sue her. But it costs too much money to sue her. And the social workers know that. They know that it costs a lot of money to sue them. But they will lie. Orange County is full of lies. There's a court case. All you have to do is Google all that. But you need an attorney that will fight for you. And Vincent Davis is one. Now, you probably say, I got a court-appointed attorney. Well, they're worthless. They are so worthless because they're not dependency lawyers. They do have some criminal background. They're a beginning attorney. They're not paid very much. And they're just going to go a little bit on your case. You can't meet with them away from court. You see them a day on your hearing for 5 minutes. And in California, it was terrible. These court-appointed attorneys did nothing. They hurt your case. They're friends of the judge. The judge is corrupt. You're against a very corrupt system. And I'd like to talk more about this tomorrow because my time is running short right now. And it's time to end my podcast because it's 8 o'clock. And I will talk about my show time on Friday. I think it may be 4 o'clock. I think that 3 o'clock is not going to work, so maybe it's 4 o'clock. I'll let you know as Friday gets closer. But I do care very, very much about y'all. Thank you for joining my podcast. God bless you all. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And you take care of yourself and do not give up fighting for your children. This is Bob Pace signing off.